Hello everyone, it's me Mahendra Paul. Today I am going to present about contradiction and contraposition method. Concept of contraposition method. Contraposition method. In a mathematical logic and contraposition of a statement is formed by negating both the hypothesis and the conclusion and then switching them. Symbolically, representation if P then Q, then the contraposition is negation of Q, then negation of P. Concept of contradiction method. The contradiction method involves assuming the negation of what need to be proven and then demonstrating that this assumption lead to an inconsistency. The symbolically representation of the contradiction method is often expressed as negation of P, then Q, and negation of Q, then P. Application. The contraposition and contradiction method of proof are widely used in mathematics and computer science. They are practically useful for providing statements that are difficult to prove directly. For example, they can be used to prove their theorems in number theory, graph theory, and other area of mathematics. They are also used in the design and analysis of algorithm where they can be used to prove correctness and termination properties. Example 1. Example of how the contradiction method of proof can be used to prove that the square root of 2 is irrational. Suppose that the square root of 2 is irrational, then we can write it as a fraction p by q, where p and q are integers with no common factors. We can assume that p and q are both even, since otherwise we can simplify the fraction, but this contradicts our assumption that p and q have no common factors. Therefore, the square root of 2 must be irrational. Example 2. Providing the square root of 2 is irrational using contraposition. To prove that the square root of 2 is irrational using the contraposition method of proof, we can assume that the square root of 2 is rational. Then we can write it as fraction p by q, where p and q are integers with no common factors. Squaring both sides of this equation gives us 2 equal to p square upon 2 upon q, which implies that p to the power 2 is even. Since the square of an odd number is odd, p must be even. Let p equal to 2k for some integer k. Substituting this into our original equation give as 2 equal to 2k whole to the power 2 by q, which implies to q to the power 2 equal to 2k to the power 2. This implies that p to the power 2 is q to the power 2 is even, and hence that q is even. But this contradiction our assumption that is p and q have no common factors. Therefore, the square root of 2 must be irrational. Comparison of contraposition and contradiction method of proof. The contraposition and contradiction method of proof are two techniques used to prove a statement in a mathematics. Both methods are indirect proofs, meaning that they prove a statement by assuming the opposite and then showing that this leads to contradiction. However, there are some differences between two methods. The contraposition method of proof is used to prove a conditional statement by proving its contrapositive. The contrapositive of a conditional statement is formed by negating both the hypothesis and the conclusion of the original statement and then switching them. If the contraposition positive of a statement is true, then the original statement is also true. This method is practically useful for proving implication. Contradiction method. On the other hand, the contradiction method of proof is use proof a statement by assuming the opposite and then swing. This leads to be contradiction. This method is particularly useful for proving statements that are difficult to prove directly. In terms of similarities, both methods are indirect proof and rely on the principle of proof by contradiction. They are also widely used in mathematics and computer science to prove theorems and correctness of algorithm. After my presentation, I conclude that both methods are powerful tools and mathematical proof. Contraposition simplifies statement by transforming implication. Contradiction uh, leverages logical contradiction to establish the truth. Understanding when to apply each method enhance problem solving skill. Mastery of this technique is essential for rigorous mathematical uh, reasoning. Thank you.